you can't work more than 24 hours a day. And if you're working 24 hours a day, you have a problem.
You're listening to the Profit by Design podcast, episode 6. You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question. What has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist and your co-host on the Profit by Design podcast. Weekly, my co-host Mike Bruno and I bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests, who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real-life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire. Hey, Profit Designers. In just a few moments, I'll be sitting down for coffee with my good friend, Donna Leyens. Donna Leyens is the president of Provendus Group, which is the home of the Pumpkin Plan. The Pumpkin Plan was written by Mike Michalowicz. And what you may not realize is Donna is the one who has taken all the great content that's written in the book and created a system for small business owners like you and I to apply all the wonderful strategy from the Pumpkin Plan in our businesses. Now, I was the first strategist to join the Provendus Group about 5 or 6 years ago, right after the Pumpkin Plan came out. Since then, I've watched the Provendus Group grow, and now we have Pumpkin Plan strategists all over the world. So today, Donna and I will be sitting down to talk about how you can make your business more sustainable using the Pumpkin Plan. And I have to tell you, one of my favorite outcomes when I take clients through the Pumpkin Plan is that business owners fall back in love with their businesses. It's pretty awesome. So, Donna, I know some of our listeners may have not heard about the Pumpkin Plan yet. So could you give us kind of a brief overview of how the Pumpkin Plan is so helpful, especially for business owners who are trying to create a business that's more sustainable and more enjoyable, quite honestly?
Well, the whole idea behind the Pumpkin Plan is it's obviously an analogy. We're not actually growing pumpkins, but we're very bought in over here to the idea of giant pumpkins. And I do have a Facebook group where people like to post pictures of giant pumpkins. But the truth is that it's an analogy for growing a really extraordinary business. And it starts with a special seed. And I don't know if you know this, but have you ever grown a pumpkin, Sabrina?
Sometimes more successfully than others. But yes, I've grown a pumpkin.
So when you grow a pumpkin, if you break open a pumpkin and you plant those seeds, you're going to grow some ordinary pumpkins. If you want to grow a giant pumpkin, you need a different seed. You need an extraordinary seed that is capable of growing a giant pumpkin. And for me, what I've learned the most over the years working with businesses is that if you don't start with that special seed, which is analogous to a strategy, if you don't start with a strategy that has the ability to grow your business in a way that not just makes you money, but also enables you to have the life that you want to live. If you don't start with that strategy, with that special seed, then you are going to be growing one of those little ordinary pumpkins, and you're going to probably struggle to try to figure out how to get beyond that. So it all starts with the special seed, and that's what the Pumpkin Plan is really about. And that special seed, which we call the sweet spot, is the combination of really three crucial elements in your business. It's knowing who your top clients are, having a unique offering, not an ordinary offering, but something unique that stands out in the minds of your top clients. And then this third piece is really crucial, having the systems and processes in your business that support that unique offering delivered to your top clients and enables you to grow exponentially without relying on any one single person. And that is really the heart of the Pumpkin Plan. That's your special seed.
So if I'm a business owner and I may have some sense of who my top clients are, but I've never really given much thought to having a sweet spot in my business, how do I know if I need to find a sweet spot? Like, what would be going on in my business if I don't have a clear sweet spot?
Great question, Sabrina. And most of the businesses that we talk to, what we find is that there are certain symptoms. Like if you go to the doctor, you're going to tell the doctor your symptoms. So these are symptoms of not being in your sweet spot. Number one, are you getting a lot of price pressure? Do you find yourself having to discount, or do you find your clients or prospective clients focusing in on your pricing? That's one symptom that you're not in your sweet spot.
Wait, I just want to stop right there because I know many of our listeners are in the construction industry and you're hitting a real pain point right there. There is constant pressure to price downward and to have the lowest bid. And just, it's very hard to have a sustainable business when you feel that price pressure. So you're telling me that's a symptom that we don't have a clear sweet spot if that's going on.
That is a symptom. Okay. It is a symptom that your clients and prospective clients see you as a commodity. There's nothing that stands out about you that says to them, I have to have this construction company or this product or this service, and it's worth paying more for that. I'm willing to pay what it costs because I have to have that. That's the feeling you want your clients to have. And if they're not having that feeling, even if you think you're unique, they're not seeing it. You're not showing it to them.
Wow. When you said commodity, I mean, that went like right to my heart. I don't ever want to be put in the same basket as a commodity. And I'm sure our listeners don't either. Okay. So what are the other symptoms that would indicate we need to work on our sweet spot?
Well, so another symptom we call it nobody cares. So basically, I know.
It's even worse than being a commodity.
It is. It's terrible, right? So another symptom is we all know a lot of the marketing strategies that are out there. If you're out there shouting from the rooftops and nobody seems to be listening, so you know you have a great, unique offering, and you're just not appealing to anyone with it, most likely you haven't identified who your clients are, who your best clients are. You haven't created a narrow enough grouping of clients and potential clients where you can speak directly to them. So it doesn't mean that nobody really cares, but it feels like nobody cares about what you have to say.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And then what's the other symptom that we need to pay attention to?
Well, the other symptom is when you feel like you're on the treadmill and you can't get off of it, and you cannot grow without working harder and more hours. And what you're doing is you're trading dollars for hours. Your money that comes in is completely dependent on your time. And that connection has limits, obviously, because there are only so many hours in the day and so many hours you can work. And I always say, you can't work more than 24 hours a day. And if you're working 24 hours a day, you have a problem.
I agree. That's a real problem.
Right. So those are some of the symptoms.
Okay. So I know that this is a hot topic among our profit designers because many of them are feeling like they're working 60 or 70 hours a week and constantly chasing opportunity and trying to, the next project that's coming in is going to be the one that's going to save the business. And when you're working from that mentality, it's a symptom. I mean, that's really what you're telling us is there's a symptom of an underlying problem and that a sweet spot and the pumpkin plan could be the cure.
Yes. Did you ever think that pumpkins would be the cure?
No. I've been doing the pumpkin plan with my clients for about 5 or 6 years, and I never thought I would be going around all the time at any opportunity telling people about giant pumpkins. But I love it. So tell us more. I know that if someone is if they're listening and they're thinking, okay, Donna has just hit the nail on the head. I have all 3 symptoms going on. I now know I need to find my sweet spot. Where do you start? What's next?
Where do you start? Well, one thing that we like to do is do just a quick evaluation, a quick assessment of where you are in relation to your sweet spot. So you want to ask yourself some of these questions. Which of these symptoms are the most prevalent for you? Where do you feel like, hey, I've got this. I just don't have the other pieces. Because usually if I go out and speak about this, I see people self-identifying. I have a diagram and it's got 3 circles and you see the intersection and they're looking at where they fit in the circle. And I always say, when people say, well, I have 2 out of the 3. And I say, that's not going to get you where you want to go. You really need all 3. And so the first place you want to start is by looking at, where do you feel like you've already kind of got the basics, what you need, and where are you really missing pieces, and dive into that. So for example, if your biggest symptom is that your marketing is just falling on deaf ears and you're not even bringing in the prospects, right? Like you're out there just hitting the pavement and it's not working for you, then you probably want to start with taking a look at your clients and who are you speaking to. And we have something, and I know you've done this for your own business, Sabrina, and you do it with your clients. We have something called the client assessment chart. And it's not in your head. I say, get it out of your head, because I've experienced this over and over again where I have this discussion with business owners and they say, oh, I can't figure out who my best clients are. All my clients are good. But as soon as we start putting this into a spreadsheet and looking at specific factors and ranking your clients on those factors, suddenly things become much, much clearer. And you can start to get a good picture of who are your best clients and how do I replicate those clients? And the way to replicate those clients and get more like them is, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
You talk to them.
No, a conversation?
Yes, it sounds shocking because I know a lot of business owners like to hide behind surveys and emails and Facebook posts. This is about sort of gathering your courage and calling up your clients and saying, I want to do some research so I can serve you better. And I want to ask you a few questions. And you get to the heart of what your best clients really notice about you. What is it that they love about you? What is it that they hate about your industry? Right? Don't ask, what have I done wrong? They probably won't tell you, or they won't tell you everything. But if you ask, what drives you crazy about the construction industry or the accounting industry or whatever industry you're in, then they feel free to tell you, because they're not worried about hurting your feelings, because they're talking about the industry. They're not talking about you. And the interesting thing that I find often comes out of this question is that they will tell you what drives them crazy about the industry. And at the same time, they'll say, and this is why I like you. So they are telling you not only what they don't like about the industry, but why you stand out to them. And now you know what your best clients really care about. And you can go out and start talking about that. And you can identify in some way, you can group those clients in a way that makes them easier to find. You can stop throwing darts at the dartboard and get out there and look for the clients that fit the description of your best clients.
So Donna, I love what you're sharing with us about interviewing our top clients. And I have some of my own personal experience with that I want to share that may help our listeners with this. But before we go there, let's take a short break and hear from our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by Tap the Potential. At Tap the Potential, we specialize in transforming life and cash-sucking small businesses into highly profitable, great places to work. You've been hearing Donna and I talk about the pumpkin plan and the sweet spot, discovering your business sweet spot and building the business out around that sweet spot is key to how we help our clients create life-changing business transformations and getting their businesses on a path to profitability and sustainability. Our other sponsors include Contractor Business Solutions and the Small Business Consulting Group. So I went through this process myself in my business 5 or 6 years ago. I worked directly with you and Mike Michalowicz on this in my business. And I talk to my clients day in and day out. I'm a coach. And when you told me to ask them these questions, I was very nervous. It was hard for me to do these interviews. So that's given me a real appreciation for every business owner who gets out there and who hesitates to have these conversations with clients. But time and again, every business owner that I've taken through this process comes back and said, this is the best thing ever. I'm going to start doing this every quarter or at least once a year with our clients because I learn so much and they're so eager to tell us and they want to share their opinions. And one of the things that happened in my business after I started asking clients for input, they didn't stop. They spontaneously tell me things now. And sometimes I'm like, oh, stop. I don't want to hear it because I'm going to have to fix that and I got to improve that. And I have my list that's so long. But actually, I really appreciate that feedback because I'm no longer flying blind. And, as business owners, when we're coming up with marketing and we're just in our head and we think, yes, I should do this. I should put this out in social media. This will appeal to our clients and customers. That's what we think. It comes out of our head. And so often we miss the mark. So wonderful about the pumpkin plan is our clients are going to tell us what they want. And then we just deliver it. It's really easy.
What you hit on something I think that is really, really key and really common, which is even the clients that talk to their clients all the time get very nervous about doing these interviews. And as you said, when they actually do them, they are amazed by the information that they get. And what I tell people is this. Sometimes they'll say, well, this is weird. They're going to think I'm weird. Nobody does this. And what I say to them is that's exactly why you should do it, because your competitors are not doing this. This is what gives you the edge, talking to your clients. And I understand that there are some industries and businesses out there where actually getting on the phone with a client is going to be next to impossible because they're just not the kind of businesses where you have that kind of relationship with your customers. But if you can avoid doing the survey thing, avoid the survey, talk to them, because you can also ask follow-up questions when you can talk to somebody. And your best clients are most likely going to be very eager, as you said, to share their experiences and their ideas with you.
Yeah. So is this something that could be delegated to an assistant to do this?
I believe it can be delegated, and I've seen it done very effectively. Usually when you delegate it, it's because somebody else in your business has more regular contact with your clients. For example, maybe it's your salesperson, or maybe it's an account manager or somebody who already has a relationship with your clients. I think that works best. If you don't have somebody like that in your business and you want to delegate it to somebody else in your business, you can give that a shot and it may work very well. And one of the positives of that is when the client is not talking directly to you, they may feel a little more free to be honest with their feedback.
Okay. That's very good. Very good to know. So I want to know a little bit about, for those business owners who are very overworked and kind of spread too thin, what does the pumpkin plan have to offer them? How will finding the sweet spot, how does that improve quality of life and make a business more sustainable?
Okay. Seriously, it can make your life better in a lot of ways. Number one, when you're in your sweet spot, you are operating more efficiently. And when you're operating more efficiently, you are getting a better return on all of your investments. For example, your marketing investment could be lower and you're getting a better response from your marketing. Now, how does that make your life better? You're making more money. You are more profitable, right? You become more profitable. The other very significant way that it can make your life better is focusing on the systems and processes that help you, as I said earlier, not just help you grow your business, but help you grow your sweet spot, help you grow your unique offering and your top clients. So that could be a marketing system. That could be a delivery system, for your product or your service. That could be just being able to hand off and delegate more tasks, and not just to a single person. I know somebody who recently talked about a key position that he had in his business where there was only one person in the company. It wasn't him. It wasn't the owner, but there was one person in the company who knew how to do that job. And it was a crucial job. This poor person could never take a day off. They couldn't even be sick they had to do the job from home if they were homesick. And he had an aha moment. We need to create a process and document this so that it can be taught to someone else, so that somebody can cover for this person. So whether you as the owner are doing all the work or doing some key jobs, or it's other employees, but it's only one employee, creating these systems and processes will not only allow you to grow more and without you having to work harder, but it also gives you peace of mind because you know that you have backup. You know that you are not reliant on any single person in your business. Can you imagine if somebody told you, a key person in your business told you tomorrow, and I'm sure this has happened to some of your listeners, hey, this job is not right for me, or I have a sick relative across the country, I'm leaving. It's been nice to know you. And suddenly you realize that you yourself don't even know how to do their job.
Yeah. And I want to speak to that for a moment because I'm doing all these 4-week vacation interviews, these business owners who are taking a 4-week vacation and they've done all the work to set their business up to be able to do that. And surprisingly, one of the big aha moments that comes as a business owner does this in their business is that the 4-week vacation isn't just about them. Every single team member in the business needs to be able to be away from the business for a complete business cycle, 4 weeks usually, for the business to have any resiliency. And that's the biggest threat, I believe, that we have in our small businesses is too many of the systems are in our heads. And if any key member of the business is out for more than a day or so, things can really fall apart. And then if you think about the domino effect of that, of the families that are impacted, the clients and customers that are impacted, the payroll that's no longer able to be met because a key person is out, it's really a big concern. And oftentimes I think we just want to put our head in the sand and like, oh, I'll deal with that another day. But one of the things that I found early on when I started doing the pumpkin plan with clients is when you talked about the efficiency, how powerful that is, because most of the clients that I work with have established businesses. They've been in business 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, and the businesses are kind of overweight, meaning that over the years, you've just piled on services and offerings. And a lot of times we bring on team members to take care of the worst clients and customers and the lowest profit margin service and offerings. And so the business has become very inefficient. And so taking business owners through the pumpkin plan process where we really identify that sweet spot, it's the slimming down of the business, and the business owners themselves, you almost just see the weight coming off the shoulders because, oh, I can breathe. And oh, we get to work with the best client. We now know from all these interviews that we've done how to attract more of the best clients. So that gets me really excited.
I actually just wrote a blog post this week, although I guess when your listeners are hearing this, it will be a little further in the past. But I recently wrote a blog post that talked about the other piece of the client assessment, which is, yes, you want to identify your best clients, but you also want to identify those worst clients. I have seen many business owners do the happy dance when they realize they have permission. They're giving themselves permission, but they have permission to let those bad clients go. And when I say bad clients, the ones that are taking up a disproportionate amount of your time, the ones that maybe are paying the same amount as all your other clients, but they use up so much of your resources and they're so expensive to service that you're actually not making a profit on those clients. And when you let them go, when you were talking about those bloated businesses, you can also evaluate and let go of those resources that were dedicated to serving those less than stellar clients.
Yes.
Yes.
And I know we have a lot of listeners who are doing profit first in their businesses. And when we do profit first, we do a lot of expense cutting to get to being able to hit profit targets. So I think there's a real interesting intersection that you've recently discovered and stumbled upon between profit first and the pumpkin plan. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, what I was just saying is very relevant to that. When you are doing profit first, and I want your listeners to know that I've been doing profit first in my business, in my most current business, since the day we started the business. Since Mike Michalowicz is my business partner and co-founder, and he showed me the system literally on the back of an envelope. And he said, this is how I want to set up our business. And I looked at it and I said, sure, looks good to me. I mean, it was really that simple. I thought, why not give it a try? And it has been a game changer in a lot of ways, because it makes it very easy to see when you're trying to make a financial decision what you can and can't afford to do. And from the concept of cutting costs, you can look at, oh, wait a minute, I'm exceeding my budget that is prescribed for me in Profit First. I'm exceeding my operating expenses. Where can I cut? And I remember having a conversation with my accountant early on, and he said, well, what if you can't afford to run your business within those parameters? And I said, then you don't have a profitable business. But here's the key.
Oh, wait, you were educating your accountant about a profitable business.
Yeah, he was, because he has complained to me many times that he has clients that just don't know how to run a profitable business. So I was talking to him about this system when I set it up, because he kept going, why do you have all these bank accounts? And the truth is that people have this idea, well, I have to spend to grow. The pumpkin plan is about profitable growth. I think that a lot of business owners think it's either or, and it makes me cringe. I know business owners who have gone for advice to maybe very well-meaning mentors and business people who say, well, it'll be 3 to 5 years before you can pay yourself out of this business. And I look at them and I say, and these are businesses where they're paying other people. I say, why would you pay everybody but yourself? Or they say to me, my accountant tells me I had a profit this year, but I have no cash in the bank. Where did my profit go? So it really addresses a real issue. The thing about combining the pumpkin plan and Profit First is that it enables you to grow in a way where you are always conscious of your profitability. But more than that, if you have an existing business that's been in business, like you said, for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you can go in and start cutting costs, but at some point there are no more costs to cut. And then there are two things that have to happen if your goal is to make more money. And that is, your business has to start growing. And when you start growing, you have to do it in a way that is so efficient that your costs will actually come down. So instead of spending more proportionally, you're spending less. And the way that happens is, for example, going back to the top clients, if you know who your best clients are and you want to focus in on those clients, your marketing dollars, the dollars that you invest in marketing, will be lower, because before maybe you were marketing in 10 different places, but now you know your top clients can be found in 2 places. And you concentrate your dollars there, and your results are going to be better, and you can spend less. And we have examples of companies that have done just that. They have cut back on their marketing, made it very concentrated to a specific niche, and they make more money. Their business grows. And it's the same thing with your unique offering. I tell the story in my blog post about a jewelry company that was trying to be everything to everybody. And when they narrowed their niche and decided we are going to focus in on a certain style of jewelry, their expenses went down, because instead of having to buy 25 different sort of styles of components, they were able to buy, let's say, 5, and they could buy larger quantities because they were investing the same amount, but they could buy larger quantities and get better discounts. So by narrowing what they offered, they actually were able to get better pricing on what they were selling, and their profits went up. And they were appealing to a very specific group. They knew where to find those people. Their sales went up. So you're growing and increasing your profit at the same time. I think they have to go together. Otherwise, you're kind of trying to do a piece of one thing and a piece of another, and you're going to at some point hit a wall.
Yeah, I totally agree. In my experience working with clients, we can do about 2/4 of expense cutting in with Profit First in place, and then we hit that wall. There's not anything else to cut. And if the business isn't growing and the revenue's not going up, then it just kind of stagnates. So I really believe the key to a successful implementation of Profit First is having the pumpkin plan in place with it. and identifying that sweet spot.
I'm with you.
Yeah. All right. So I know we have our listeners who are very excited about what you're sharing here, because I imagine they're seeing a way out of some very frustrating things that they've been dealing with in their business. So you have a gift that you want to share with our listeners. So could you tell us about that, Donna?
I do. And it's a gift from both of us, actually. Sabrina and I put our heads together and said, what can we give away to your awesome listeners, to your profit designers? And it's a worksheet. It's not long. It's not complicated. It's called 3 Things You Must Know to Grow. I actually like to call it a business growth blueprint. And it takes you through a quick process of looking at the elements in the sweet spot and figuring out where you are in relation to your sweet spot and what your sweet spot really should be.
Oh, wow. That's going to be fantastic. So, Donna, we will put a link to that for our profit designers in the show notes on the Profit by Design podcast webpage. So you can just go to profitbydesignpodcast.com, episode 6, and we'll have the link right there for you to get your hands on this. And I also want to have you talk a little bit about your strategist program, because we may have some folks who are listening who would like to share pumpkin plan strategy with other business owners. So could you tell us about that?
Sure. So I am really on a mission, and I'm very passionate about saving small business from extinction. And what I mean by that is I would hate to live in a world where our only choice is to do business with these giant corporations and chain stores. And I know that small business owners struggle. That's why I do this. And just to take you back a little bit, when I first started working with small business owners, I didn't have a system behind me. You know, we were talking about systems and processes. I didn't have a system behind me, and I struggled to communicate what I had to offer and to compete with other consulting companies. And even when I did have clients, I also struggled to have a consistent process to take them through. I was constantly reinventing the wheel. And when I met Mike and he had this idea to turn the pumpkin plan into a coaching process, I loved it. I ate it up. I was like, this is exactly what I've been looking for, and I'm going to develop it. And we put this together. We created the tools and the processes. And after a little less than a year of working with clients ourselves, developing these tools, we said, we have a system that we can teach to other people. We can have such a larger impact if we have a team of strategists that are out there helping clients and helping small businesses to get past these obstacles so that they can continue to grow. And I hope it's okay for me to say that Dr. Sabrina was our strategist number 1.
Woohoo!
She was the very first person to say, I know you're brand new and I love what you have to offer, and I'm in. And it's been an amazing experience working with Dr. Sabrina, getting feedback from her, from you over the years, Sabrina, so that we could make this program better. And what I have found is there are the kinds of business professionals that have real success with this. Number 1, they share my passion for small business. They share our passion for small business, and they're lifelong learners. They just love to continue to learn and grow. And they usually either come from an industry, so they've had a successful business and they feel maybe they've started mentoring other people in their business, in their industry, and they've developed this passion for helping other business owners. Or they're coaches and consultants who, like I was 6 years ago, are looking for a process behind them so that they're not constantly reinventing the wheel. Or the other group of professionals that does great with our program, and I think partially because it's such a good fit with Profit First as well, are accountants and bookkeepers. They have so much knowledge about businesses and how they work and so much to share, and are really passionate about doing more than keeping books. They want to be able to give those clients the advice they need to continue to grow. And also marketing professionals. We get a lot of interest from people who have marketing companies or are working in marketing and know that the businesses that they work with need more than just that marketing piece in order to grow, and they're passionate about helping them. So I hope I didn't talk too long, but you can tell I'm very excited about what we have to offer.
I love your passion, Donna. So if someone wants to learn about the possibility of becoming a strategist, where would they go for that?
So they could go to my website, which is provendusgroup.com. And actually, can we put a link in the show notes, Sabrina?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's a little button at the top of the homepage. I am working on redoing my website, but there's a little button that says, I think, license our program. But we actually have a direct link, and I think it would be easier to put that in the show notes, and people could click right through to that if they're interested.
We will definitely do that. Okay. So Donna, I so appreciate what you've shared with us today about the sweet spot of the business and just the conversation that we've had around creating a business that's more sustainable, more profitable, and really just more fun for us as business owners to run, because that's what we're here to do on the Profit by Design podcast. So for those of you listening today, I want to invite you to join our conversation over in the Profit by Design podcast Facebook group. Donna's in there. She was one of our founding members. She's been a big supporter of the podcast right from the get-go. So share your thoughts on today's conversation. Ask questions. Donna and I, Mike, will be there. We'll respond. Let us know what resonated with you, what left you scratching your head saying, gee, I'd like to do this, but I just don't know about this piece. Well, put it in the Facebook group. We'll talk to you about it. And you're also welcome to email Mike and I directly at Sabrina and Mike at profitbydesignpodcast.com. Don't forget to visit our website at profitbydesignpodcast.com to see the show notes and get all the links and the resources. And I want to invite you to be sure to subscribe to the Profit by Design podcast on whatever platform you're listening to us on right now. Just look down at your phone. If you're on the phone or even on your computer, there's a subscribe button. So just hit that, and that way you don't ever miss an episode. And finally, so many of you have been sharing the podcast with your friends. That is the best way we know to get this podcast into the right ears. So please keep sharing the podcast, and we so appreciate it. So in closing today, I just want to remind you all, this is real life business. Keep your chin up and keep moving forward. You got this.